Providing Columbus residents with clean, safe drinking water is a 365-day-a-year commitment.
I test water samples every hour to ensure your water meets all federal and state requirements.
And I test our water daily to make sure that our source water is safe and healthy.
I maintain fire hydrants for the city, make sure they work properly.
And we trying to repair water lines to make sure you have water throughout the night.
And I check to make sure your meters are working properly.
Columbus Waterworks, serving our community and protecting the environment.
Good afternoon and welcome to Columbus Waterworks virtual town hall meeting. My name is Vic Birchfield and I will be your moderator for today's town hall. Our topic for today is to discuss our rate strategy, how funds generated from rates are used, and why this matters to our community. We will have two presenters this afternoon. Our first presenter is Mr. Steve Davis, President of Columbus Waterworks, who will review our Columbus Waterworks rate strategy. Following Mr. Davis will be Ms. Alex Hinton, who is over financial services and will review the financial planning side of the rate strategy. After the presentations, we will have questions and answers during a period to review questions previously submitted by email prior to the meeting. Those of you watching now may also submit questions live through YouTube chat. Please know that you will need a YouTube account to use this feature. You may also submit questions via email to contact us at cwwga.org. Again, that's contact us at cwwga.org. To help us answer your questions, we also have joining us Mr. Billy Cobb, who is over our field services group, and Mr. Kevin White, who is over our engineering group. We will now turn the meeting over to Mr. Davis.
Thank you, Vic, and welcome everyone. This is the second of our virtual town hall meetings. As Vic mentioned, we'll be talking about our rate strategy. And this is part of our public comment period relative to that rate strategy. We are proposing a rate increase, and so we're out in this public comment period. We'll go back to our board November the 16th and report to them any feedback we get from our customers or others as we move toward a recommended rate increase. So hopefully through this process, you'll get a little better understanding of what goes into our thinking in terms of setting rates. A big part of what I'll be talking about is infrastructure, and then I'll hand it off to Alex and she'll talk more about the proposed rate increase and the finance part. I think we can all agree that nobody likes a rate increase, whether it's your water or sewer bill or anything else. In an ideal world, costs just don't go up. But I think also we could all agree that everybody likes clean drinking water and environmentally healthy streams and rivers. So the intent of this town hall is try to tie those two concepts together. Also, you'll see that last bullet there. We are proposing a 3.75% increase across the board, and Alex will talk more about that in the financial analysis part. Next slide, please. These next two slides give some reasons for a rate increase. And from my perspective, they tend to support CWW's purpose and our vision. Our purpose is that we protect our neighbors by providing essential water, the fuel of life. And of course, it requires that we have good, properly functioning pipes, pumps, and plants that are essential for us to deliver that clean, reliable drinking water, and to also to convey the wastewater back to treatment so that we can protect our streams and rivers. Failing infrastructure, on the other hand, it puts the public health at risk. It makes providing the clean drinking water a greater challenge, and it also can impact our environmental health if we have sewer backups or overflows, and that can impact our streams and rivers. So failing infrastructure is something we work hard to avoid. It's CWW's responsibility as stewards of the public and environmental health relative to these water and sewer systems to maintain and operate them at a level to meet state and federal regulatory requirements. And failing infrastructure causes compliance violations. Aging wear and tear on infrastructure is relentless. It's just we can't catch a break. As soon as we put something new in, it just starts aging and wearing out. So as much as we'd like to hit the pause button and slow it all down, that's just not an option that's available to us. We have to keep pushing to maintain that infrastructure so that we can maintain a high quality of service to you, our customers. The cost of replacing failed infrastructure under emergency situations can be 3 to 5 times higher than under a planned replacement situation. So there again, we strive hard to avoid those emergencies. Next slide. Our vision at CWW is to be recognized by our customers and our employees as providing the most caring experiences. And as a customer, you may say, well, if you cared about me, you wouldn't be raising my rates. And I would have to say that it is because we care about you that we raise rates so that we can maintain the infrastructure and cover all the costs that it takes to provide you clean, safe, reliable drinking water. Failing pipes under roadway puts traveling public at a risk. So we strive hard to know the condition of our pipes under major roadways so we can renew them before they fail. And so, failure is just not an option. And infrastructure failure will occur if planned, prudent investments are not made to renew and replace our water and sewer systems. So the process, the program that CWW has been engaged in for almost 2 decades now is providing minimal annual rate increases that allow us to sustain the consistency of planning, financing, designing, constructing, and operating these systems that are essential for safe water. So it's a very systematic, planned out process. Is proactive, is not reactive. These minimal annual rate increases that we've been doing since 2002 provide a means to levelize revenue to match expenses, and it also allows us to dampen out or try to keep the cost increases as level and low as they can be for you, our customers. Next slide, please. And, I've been talking about pipes and pumps and plants, but it's a lot more than that to provide you the service we provide you. It's a dedicated team of CWW employees, and they're on the clock 24/7, 365. You see a few pictures here of some of them steadily at work, some of them under emergency situations. That bottom right picture there, you'll see if we have an emergency situation, we've got a water main, pretty substantial water main leak there. Upper left, you can see 3 of our employees putting a sleeve on a water pipe while the pipe is under pressure. That's a technique we use to try to minimize service disruption to our customers. They temporarily may have a reduced pressure, but they still got flow, and it allows us to restore service as quickly as we can without a negative impact to our customers. So it takes a big team of committed folks, and we've got it, and they do a great job at serving you. Next slide, please. So to kind of give you a little sense of the magnitude of our infrastructure, we've got 2 water treatment plants. We've got 2 combined sewer overflow treatment plants. We've got 1 wastewater treatment plant. We've got about 2,500 miles of water and sewer lines. We've got dozens of water tanks, thousands of fire hydrants, thousands of manholes, thousands of valves. So there's just a very massive and widely distributed infrastructure system that we have. And if we were to replace it in today's dollars, it could be in the range of about $2.5 billion to replace our assets. And that's probably on the low side, because it seems that construction, particularly for plant work, has gone up substantially. So just gives you a little bit of the magnitude of our infrastructure. And all of these components of our system, they have useful service lives. And that can range from, 5, 6, 7 years for a kind of a high-tech computerized component that helps us control our systems. Thankfully, those don't generally cost a lot. They're critical to operations, but they because technology is advancing so fast, they don't have a very long service life. On the other end of the spectrum, we've got water and sewer water lines that generally last 75 to 100 years. And we've even got some in the system that are currently in operation that date back to the late 1880s. And we have a program where we come and have a contractor scrape out the inside of those pipes and put a cement lining on them, and it'll extend the life of those pipes possibly another 100 years. So that's just an example of one of the things that CWW does to try to maximize the life of our assets, because the longer they last, the lower the cost is on renewal and replacement. Generally, over the past few years, we've been spending about $2.3 million a year in our wastewater collection system, our sewer pipe system. A comparable amount on our water distribution system, about $2.2 million a year. Overall, all of our investments in our infrastructure over the last 5 years has averaged about $27 million. So if you're kind of thinking about the life of assets and what our investment level is and what the replacement value is, you might think, well, okay, $2.5 billion, $27 million a year, that may be, it's going to be a while before it all gets replaced. So we do recognize we have a need to increase our annual expenditures to avoid failures. But at this point in time, I think we're doing a good job keeping up with it, because we had excellent team out there evaluating our assets and responding when there's a need to do some repair and replacement. And this is just a few pictures of some of our team out there battling against failing infrastructure. You can see the upper left there, we got a water main leaking pretty substantially, and just to the lower right of that, you see some of our guys down doing the dirty work of repairing those mains in an efficient manner, trying to get our customers back in service and keep them in service. Below that leaking water line, you'll see a sewer line down the right side of that pipe. You can see it's got a hole in it. So this pipe is one that clearly has reached the end of its useful service life. If we can find lines like this before they collapse, we can use techniques that allow us to rehabilitate the pipe within the pipe, and that's a lot more cost effective. The far right, you'll see some of the CWW team doing a pipe bursting technique where they slide a new pipe, they burst the old pipe and slide this new pipe into it, and they don't have to do an open cut trench along the whole way. If these failures do advance too much, like you see with that barrel in the roadway where you're beginning to have a roadway collapse there, if the lines collapse so much we can't do a trenchless repair, then our repairs get much more expensive, because we have to open cut and then replace a roadway like you see that long stretch of pavement there. So it gets much more expensive when we have to do it that way. So we we've got a good team that knows how to use trenchless techniques and are out there trying to find failures before they occur, so we can do it so we can renew our infrastructure the most cost-effective way. So those were a few pictures of some of our CWW staff and what they do. These pictures represent some of the larger infrastructure projects that we do, that we contract out. This upper left picture there is one of our vessels at the South Plant, wastewater treatment plant. About the time we had entered into a contract with the contractor and he mobilized on site, the lid to this tank collapsed, and that was the scope of his work was to put a new lid on it. So it clearly indicated to us that that lid had reached the end of its useful life. So thankfully we timed it just right. The contractor was on site. I think this picture was probably taken about a year ago. Now we have a new fixed cover on that digester. Below that, you'll see a contractor inside one of our large sewer pipes down at the wastewater treatment plant. And he's putting a liner on side of a sewer pipe to extend the life of that pipe. That'll probably get us another 10 or 15 years of life out of that pipe. And it's a lot more cost effective to come in and line these pipes than it is to try to replace them. In the middle, you'll see our water plant. We've installed some new bulk chemical storage. That's just an example of some recent capital contractor projects. To the right there, you'll see a pipe floating out across Lake Oliver. That is a contractor is replacing a sewer pipe that is buried below the lake, where a pump station pumps flow through that pipe back up into our gravity system. And so we suspected that old pipe was reaching the end of its service life, so we couldn't tolerate having any kind of environmental impact on the lake. So we contractor dug a trench, buried this new pipe in, and so now we've got a much renewed asset, so we can avoid any environmental issues in the future. Next slide, please. So some of the ways that CWW tries to drive our cost efficiency is another means to try to keep our rate increases as low as we can. Is we obtain competitive pricing for construction, materials, supplies. We utilize qualified consultants so that they can do excellent design for us using the right materials, the right processes, and our engineering and operations staffs work close with them through the design and construction phase to ensure that we get good construction projects. We also seek the most cost-effective debt financing we can get. Alex has been successful recently in helping us get an outstanding loan interest rate for our next capital improvement program. We've got an interest rate of 0.13%. When we factored that into our financial model, I think it saves us about $20 million over the life of these three loans that we're getting at that interest rate. So that was a tremendous savings, and one of those things that will manifest itself to our customers in having a dampened down rate increase. We also try to just drive cost efficiency throughout the culture of CWW. Is this the best way to do this? Can we find a cheaper alternative? Just keeping each other sharp and on our toes to be as cost effective as we can. And we also ensure our financial performance. We make sure we're meeting our bond coverages and our reserves stay above our minimum threshold. So since 2002, we've been doing these annual financial analysis, which provide us low annual rate adjustments to help us level out our increases to avoid painful spikes in our rates. I think Alex may have a slide that drives that home a little better. And we do take a very proactive approach to managing our infrastructure. We operate on a 5-year cycle of doing a facilities master plan that looks at our assets, our capacity, the conditions, and any regulatory changes that may be coming our way. And then Kevin may talk to this a bit if the question comes up for him. But then we prioritize those projects, and through the master plan, we always have more projects than we fund. So as it becomes critical to prioritize and get our most important projects funded. So it does go in a 5-year cycle where we plan, we prioritize, we finance, we design, we build, and then we start the cycle over again. So it's been a long-term process that we've been doing, and it seems to be very effective for us. And with that, I think I will turn it over to Alex.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Davis, and thank you, everyone, for joining us here today. Columbus Waterworks maintains a 5-year financial plan to ensure that we are financially sound, not only today, yet also in the future. Each year, this plan is reviewed and updated based on current and relevant information. Over the next few slides, we will review some of the highlights from this plan. As Mr. Davis stated, this is the graph that reflects Columbus Waterworks system-wide average rate increases historically from 2003 through 2020. Prior to 2002, the rolling 5-year financial plan and rate increases were not as consistent. And as you can see, this led to several years of significant rate increases during 2003, 2004, and 2005. 2003 was 14.8%, 2004 was over a 13% rate increase, and 2005 was over an 8% increase. Since this time, Columbus Waterworks has maintained smaller system average rate increases in an effort to provide affordable water to our customers. In this slide, we can explore the historical rate changes and how Columbus Waterworks rate changes compare to the national average. This schedule reflects a 5-year look back and a 5-year look forward, comparing the national average, the model projection, and the proposed or actual system increases by Columbus Waterworks. We can see while the national average for this time frame with an estimated 6% increase going forward results in a 6.2% average increase each year, while Columbus Waterworks has maintained increases over the same time frame of 3.66%, significantly lower than the national average. Overall, we can see that the 5-year financial plan continues annual increases that minimize the long-term impact to our customers. It supports future operating and infrastructure investment needs. In addition, as part of the proposed rate increase, we have also proposed to increase the low-income credit of $1 per month. Currently, we offer a low-income credit of $7.50 per month. This amount will be increased to $8.50 per month if approved. If approved, the proposed 3.75% increase across the board will result in the following increases to include base charges, CSO charges, and volumetric water and sewer charges for customers. This reflects a base charge for customers with a typical 5/8-inch meter. 97% of Columbus Waterworks residential customers have a 5/8-inch meter. To simplify, we will go over what a typical increase a customer might see based on their current bill. This is a total increase to include water, sewer, CSO, and base fees, just to confirm. If your bill is around a little over $52 a month or $52.40, including garbage of $18, then the proposed rate increase would result in a $1.29 per month increase on your bill, or a little over $1 per month. If your bill is around $66 a little over $66 or $66.50, including garbage of $18, then the proposed rate increase would result in a $1.82 per month increase to your bill. And that's about 4,500 gallons. If your bill is around $76.90, including garbage of $18, then the proposed rate increase would result in a little over $2 a month or $2.21 per month increase on your bill, which is about 6,000 gallons. The majority of Columbus Water Works residential customers are users between 3,000 and 4,500 gallons. Here we can see how Columbus Water Works compares to other cities. This is a typical 3,000 gallon per month bill user with a 5/8 inch meter. As you can see, we are lower than other cities of similar size and much lower than a city like Atlanta. We are slightly higher than Phoenix City. The Columbus affordability column reflects the typical user that is receiving the $8.50 proposed increase of $1 low-income credit provided through the Columbus Water Works program. And we're right there toward the low end, the $35.59. In summary, consistent annual rate adjustments lead to lower long-term rates, consistently lower than the historical national averages, as we saw. Revenue stability is necessary to sustain clean drinking water and the health of our streams and river. There is a continued need to reinvest in infrastructure through capital improvements. And in addition, the $1 increase on the low-income credit's been proposed. Thank you for your time. And at this time, I'll turn it back over to our moderator, Mr. Vic Birchfield.
Thank you, Steve and Alex, for that great information. At this time, we will proceed into the questions that have been submitted from our viewers. And if you have joined us late and you have a YouTube account, you may submit questions live during the using the chat feature on YouTube. You may also submit questions via email to contact us at cwwga.org, as you see on the screen there. We ask that you please keep your questions related to the topic of rate strategy presented this afternoon. And currently, I'm looking to see any live questions coming in, and we do not have any at the moment. So what I'll do is go back and ask a few summary questions from questions that viewers have asked in the past, and we'll review those. So Alex, I'll pose this question to you. If my bill is currently $50, what can I expect to see as an increase each month?
Okay. As we talked about, that if your bill is about $50 a month, which includes the $18 garbage fee, then you'll look at seeing a little over $1 increase each month, or about $1.20.
Okay, appreciate that. For our next question, we'll address this one to Billy Cobb. Billy, why does it cost 3 to 5 times more money to replace emergency infrastructure failures rather than planned replacements?
Well, emergency infrastructure replacement it requires an immediate response. And the main things we do there is first we safe up the site to make sure the public's not impacted there, and then we try to minimize the impact to our customers. Due to this quick time response, we're not able to bid out the projects. And since we're not able to bid them out, you pay a premium for the cost of the contractor's labor, materials, equipment, and overhead. Thank you.
Okay, appreciate that. I want to encourage our viewers to go ahead and submit those questions, again, using your YouTube account, using the chat feature, or submit them via the email there, and we'll be monitoring both of these. So send those on in. In the meantime, while we wait, Kevin, I'll pose this question to you. What are some examples of infrastructure projects that Columbus Water Works is currently working on?
Our current project is this is actually going on right now is we are upgrading and replacing several major components at our wastewater facility off South Lumpkin Road. That is a lot of mechanical components that are beyond their useful life that are now needing replacing. We have completed here recently as part of our recent capital improvements plan some cleaning and lining, as Steve was mentioning, where we go in and we basically clean the inside of a water line that's been in our system for a while, and then we will reline it with a new concrete liner. And the intention is to give that older line extend its useful life further down the road. And we do some things that are very similar in our wastewater system as well, with the intent of taking an existing line and extending its useful life. And we have recently completed some projects at our water plant, the North Columbus Water Resource Facility off River Road. Again, we're just aging mechanical assets and electrical assets that need to be replaced. And we've had it in the Marina Cove that Steve mentioned earlier. That was a lift station and force main project that was in our last plan as well.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. Still waiting on questions from the viewers, so we'll proceed on. Steve, we'll pose this question to you. Why does Columbus Waterworks use a financial model to predict what rates will be in the future? Why don't we just plan year to year?
Our financial model allows us to take a broader, longer view of our finances. It allows us to kind of look in the rear view mirror and see what our costs have been in the last 4 or 5 years, so we can kind of trend going forward what some of our expenses may be and be able to predict and try to manage those costs. And it also allows us in that forward-looking view to see what our capital replacement needs are, so we can try to work that debt cost in a way that it minimizes rate increases and cost to our customers. So we have a more proactive approach. If we just kind of sat back and waited for things to start failing and then react to that, then we'd have much larger spikes in our rate increases, and we believe that would be much more painful for our customers to have rate increases similar to what Alex was showing in one of our earlier slides, where we had that 3-year period with rate increases from 8 to 15% per year or something like that. So we certainly want to avoid going back to that situation, because it would not be positive for our customers.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Again, want to encourage our viewers to submit your questions. We'll give you a few more minutes before we conclude the meeting here. We know that it's the noon hour and we want to respect your time, but please submit those and we'll wait for those to come in for a little bit longer. Alex, will ask you this question. How does a customer apply for the low-income credit?
Okay. Well, I know we mentioned that program several times. A customer may apply for the Columbus Waterworks low-income credit by contacting the Citizen Service Center with the Columbus Consolidated Government. They can call 311 or 706-653-4000. Again, they can just dial 311. You may request an application, and the application can be mailed directly to your address. The completed application and the paperwork can be filled out and then mailed straight back to the address that's listed on the application. They currently do not take applications over the phone. However, they would be glad to assist you in filling out your application with any questions you have.
Okay, that's good info, Alex. And Alex, we'll pose this question also to you, since we're in the period of the pandemic now. What has Columbus Waterworks done during the pandemic to help with the financial problems that customers may be experiencing?
Well, actually, here at Columbus Works, we certainly want to ensure that we are taking care of our customers. And during the pandemic, we have responded to the needs of our customers by offering payment plans. While we've always offered payment plans, the dates were extended to 6 months if needed, and our customer service representative worked with each customer set up a plan that would work with their financial needs. In addition, we stopped disconnections of services beginning March and lasting through the latter part of June. Prior to resuming disconnections, Columbus Waterworks distributed door hangers to each individual customer who was on the disconnect list, offering them payment arrangements, as well as encouraging customers to contact 211 for agency assistance if they needed it during this time. Columbus Waterworks also waived delinquent fees during this time and has continued to waive them in an effort to relieve any financial burden our customers are experiencing. We have worked and continue to work with our customers, as we do not want to see our customers have an interruption of service. We want to ensure that they have clean, safe drinking water.
Okay, appreciate that, Alex. And we'll wait just a few minutes more here. Kevin, we'll pose this question to you. How does Columbus Waterworks prioritize the infrastructure projects?
Well, for our projects, we score them and we look at 4 different major criteria. The first category is they're automatic. You can get them, the maximum score is 270. There are a couple of ways you can get an automatic 270. One is if there is a 3-year payback on the project. Another, if it is if it is an EPD or some sort of regulatory requirement that is being imposed on us, with that, it gives an automatic qualification of 270. We also look at what we call the triple bottom line, which is where we evaluate the social impact of this project, the environmental impact of this project, as well as the economic impact of this project. And we also look at it from our strategic alignment, Columbus Waterworks' strategic alignment, which is we scored based on how it will wow customers, how it will energize employees, and how it will protect and maintain our environmental resource. And the last thing we look at, which is anywhere from 42% of the scoring, is what we call it the criticality index, where we look at the consequence of failure of that asset plus what is the likelihood of failure of that asset. Most of these projects, pretty much all these projects you will see in the current CIP that are being funded have a very high likelihood of failure due to their age and a very high consequence of failure due to their importance to our infrastructure and our systems.
Okay, great. Appreciate that. Billy, we'll pose this question to you. How is clean drinking water related to infrastructure?
Need to unmute, Billy.
I think we're having a problem hearing there.
Oh, sorry, I didn't unmute myself. Sorry.
There we go.
Okay. The infrastructure we're talking about is pipes, pumps, basins, chemical feed equipment, and we use all of that to get water from the river, to get it cleaned up, get it treated, and then send it to your house under pressure so that you can use it in your house. Thank you.
Okay, appreciate that. And we're going to let this be our last question since I don't see any questions coming in. So, Steve, we'll ask you about this one. How could you explain again how replacing infrastructure helps to protect the environment?
Specifically to our sewer system, usually our sewer pipes flow by gravity, so that they naturally are following paths of creeks. So if we have our sewer infrastructure that begins to fail, collapse, back up, and begins to overflow, then it can spill over into creeks and in the river, and begin to have a negative impact on the aquatic life in those water bodies. So it's critical for us to to keep those systems in good condition so the flow stays in the pipe and doesn't get out.
Right. Appreciate that, Steve. And since we don't have any questions, again, we're going to respect your time, being that it's noontime and lunchtime. And we want to certainly thank all of our presenters today and the support staff for participating in the town hall meeting. And we certainly appreciate the viewers for your time this afternoon. And we hope that this has been informative for you. This concludes our town hall meeting, and we hope you have a pleasant afternoon.